What's up, YouTube? Samuel here, blessed with another day of life, blessed with this it's another weekly upload. And today what I'd like to talk about is something I'm reading in my book. This book I'm reading called Thinking Fast and Slow, and it's called Cognitive Ease. Now, what I've learned about cognitive ease is that when people's minds aren't really active in trying to figure out a solution, they're at something called cognitive ease. And why this is important enough to be spoken about today is that many human beings, we live and we don't like to encounter a cognitive ease in most things. Well, we don't like to escape that area. And what happens is that what we do is that we create, and the book talks about it, and it doesn't really mention it like this, but it implies it. It says that since humans don't like that, we settle for what we're familiar with, which is, say that we have a bad life. Our parents beat us pretty badly, or we had a single mother or something. What we do is, because we're so familiar with it, we allow it to carry on to ourselves, and we become that. So it may not even be a good thing. It may be alcoholism, as your father was an alcoholic. You carry it on because it's what you're familiar with, and you don't want to break that chain in your life of alcoholism. So because you're so familiar with it, even though it's a bad thing and you hate it, you're gonna go on to it because of cognitive ease. These cycles continue for that reason, and we see that happen in life, in society, that because people are familiar with it, they like it. And the book explains that the reason for this is because they say that many years ago, we as humans would look for things that we could be calm with, like we trust it. If there's a certain noise we hear at a certain time every day, we trust it. We know, we are familiar with it, so we're cool with it, and we trust things, and it's all based on survival. Okay, like if I could survive with this, then I don't need to change it. And that's the way we've been. It works because I haven't got killed from it. We have instincts. And yeah, we say, oh, okay, it may be a terrible thing, but it works for me because I'm still alive. My heart's still beating, and I'm familiar with it. And this book, it talks about being familiar with those things, being your friend as well. It's crazy, but if you hear a certain thing enough times, it starts to grow on you. And there's a study that they did in the book that the book describes, that they put in certain names of people. They put certain names that people have never heard before, but they put them on certain things more times than other words that were also native to them. So then they asked the people at the end of the study, what words do you think are good words in this other language, and which ones do you think are worse? The words that they saw more influenced I think every person who did the study. It influenced them to say that the word that they saw more was a good word. So yeah, the words in the study were all foreign words, but the words that they saw more, they had cognitive ease with, because they saw it more times and they felt better with it. That's so deep, because the word could be worse, but they feel that it's a better word just because they feel comfortable with it. They know it, and they feel like it hasn't let them down yet. And something else about this cognitive ease is that there was another study done, and with this study, well, was it a study? Let me think. Man, I had it in my mind, but the point I'm trying to make here is that when we're familiar with something, despite it being good or bad, just to avoid certain things, we go with the flow. We don't want to battle certain things that are bad for us because of that. And something else this book touched, another dimension of it, was that what was it? It's on my mind. Oh, that somebody could lie to somebody could lie to people because of cognitive ease, or we could believe things to be true because we don't want to go deeper into it. And something that was cool is that people, they had very similar sources on a book, on an essay, but they didn't want to use a certain source because the word was hard to read, talking about how lazy we are to think. So a name that was really hard to pronounce will be used less than the word that's easy to pronounce, just because of that factor, not because of anything else. People are that lazy to think deep, do any deep thinking. And saying that make things rhyme, talking about how lazy people are. Making things rhymes makes people want to buy a book more than if it had real truth in it, but it was worded differently. It's so crazy. People love things that are very convenient and easy, and that's a big problem. And that's why the world is facing a lot of the problems that it's facing today. And we all want cognitive ease rather than really sitting back and challenging our minds and thinking against what we've been taught and challenging things. And it's crazy because there was another study where the writing was terrible. So it was very like foggy. The writing was thin and foggy, so people had to do a maze. And when they did the maze with the foggy writing or the unclear lines, they tended to do better than when the lines were strong. And that's because of cognitive ease. When the lines are strong, you make more mistakes because your mind is at ease. But when it's hard to read, you make less mistakes because your mind is already challenged. And they say that, yeah, that's why a lot of times when people lie, they put things in bold, or they use all this other kind of techniques to make it beautiful. And that's why music, despite being so bad sometimes, it's very popular among the youth because of this cognitive ease, because they don't care about the message. What they care about is the way that it's being delivered. And that's the reason why these things are so beautiful to people, although they're very terrible and kill your soul, kill your spirit, kill your life, your youth, all of that. Even though they mess up your whole life and the way you think, it's beautiful because of the way it's delivered. And that's super sad. It's so sad that all this negative influence is going on with people just because they would rather hear a beautiful message than to really think. They wanna have things hand delivered, and that's what's enslaving people. That's what I believe, that they're being enslaved by this cognitive ease, by not thinking past what your parents told you. The thing is, we hear repetition so much, and this is all part of this cognitive ease. Repetition, this is good, this is bad. You hear it so many times that you believe it, and when somebody asks you, why do you believe it? You think about it, and you get mad because you don't have an answer, or your answer is not what you want to hear. Oh, because they told me so many times. Okay, it's right. It's just right. Okay, and that's what the media is doing right now. So media, they think that if you hear it enough times, it'll be true just because of that. And when you get challenged, that's why a lot of these people get so crazy when they get challenged, because they know they're wrong, but they've been told so many times. And that's the thing. All of this has been enslaving religion and religious people because they don't want to challenge their thoughts. It's been getting people in every way, politically, spiritually, scholarly. You go to these schools, a lot of these people don't know what they believe. They could tell you all the math equations in the world, but when it comes to something very simple, they just don't have an answer. Or they have an answer that's about cognitive ease, a very simple, or very, what would the word be? The word is, when you're, the answer would probably be very, there's a word. Um, sorry, I'm not too sharp today. Not, I'm kind of not sharp, but it's very biased, and that's probably not even the word. It's very lazy, and it's not thought out. It's just something that because they heard it so many times, they believe it's true, and it's dangerous. So that being said, let's take our time and let's think about things very, very thoroughly, because this is a way that we could get tricked and manipulated by not really looking at what we're doing, not paying attention to it deeply, not asking why we do the things we do. Don't ever believe things just because they were delivered to you a certain way, because a lot of times when it's a lie, it will be delivered to you in the way that you want it the most. And it's scientifically proven. God bless.